Okay, y'all ready to get started?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to talk, uh, and I really like for this to be a discussion format. I don't want to just lecture and lecture, but it really is something that I think applies to every level of what we do. So I just want to remind you all of what it was like. Saul remembers, Elder and Alberto remember, and Nathaniel probably remember how it was before we had grooming. What we ended up with was, let's see if I can get over there, advance the slide. What we had before was immature cards. We had uninformed team. So when Elder is ready to make tests in a project, he maybe doesn't understand the project well enough to really give a full service test. Maybe he only knows how to test some validation things, or maybe Saul, when it's time for him to start working on a card, he doesn't really know how to develop it, so he ends up having to divert attention and give a lot of questions or clarify things. This is before we had grooming sessions, so last minute decisions and also ignorant estimates. And that's not to offend, but our estimates themselves were ignorant. They didn't have the information that they needed to be able to have any kind of any realism. Yeah.
I will add one more thing.
Uh-huh.
Is that the planning sessions were too long.
Oh yeah, and the planning sessions were extremely long. So your sprint planning meetings that we have at the beginning of the sprint would be 2-3 hours, or maybe more. Or worse than that is if we felt like we needed to hurry those meetings and we didn't give them the kind of planning that they needed. Too.
We have some times with Nathaniel that maybe we have like a meeting of planning just for one card, for example. I remember some projects of that sometimes we have the planning that was 2 hours or 3 hours, and then we have a card that is extremely complex. It's not just clear, and sometimes we do some fair sessions with him, like he was developing. Even his wife helped us in a project once.
Yeah. I'll add another one to that, is that not only is the meeting extra long, but you've got the entire team in that meeting. So everybody is tied up for that amount of time. This is before grooming. So now that we have grooming, things are better organized. So now, present day grooming sessions, we have 3 amigos, we have better cards, we have a much more informed team. So when Alberto goes in to make tests, he knows the product. He knows it well enough to where he can make tests intelligently, not just testing the things that the card says to test, but also using his own intellect to decide what else needs to be tested. And educated estimates. We have much better estimates. Not saying that our estimates are great or spot on, because many times our estimates are still wrong, but at least they're better educated. If we say something's a 3, it's because it truly does feel like a 3, and we have a reason to say it's a 3. Forgetting that there might be a hidden Easter egg or a time bomb in there somewhere.
Are you going to go through each of these? If not, can we explain 3 amigos real quick?
Yeah, so 3 amigos is just the format that we follow right now, where we have typically 3 people that will attend a grooming session. One of those is somebody, it's either the product owner or the representative of the product owner, which is the BA, like Carlos, and then we have a tester, and then we have a developer. So the tester in the grooming session, the 3 amigos grooming session, is thinking about things like, how can I test this? How can I get in and try to make this break? Is there anything that I need to be able to make this, to test this? You know, if it's like an admin function that where we've got certain permissions, and so the tester needs to be thinking, okay, I need an admin user account, and that admin needs to have these certain permissions so that I can test. The developer is thinking about, okay, what kind of I'm teaching a session right now. He's probably going to call me back. So the developer is looking at it from the perspective of, okay, how can I build this? What am I going to need to build this? What has to be built before I can build this? What dependencies are going on? What integrations do I have to deal with? What kind of APIs do I have to deal with from other people? Things like that. The product owner or the BA in the Three Amigos triangle is really just trying to make sure that that everybody knows what to build, not how to build it, but what to build. Is that good enough? Explanation of Three Amigos?
Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to give you some concepts. Some people think that developing software is following instructions given by the client. The client comes to us, and of course they are the expert in what they have asked us to do. But we also have to understand that what they say they want today is not always what they really need, which is exactly why we don't go off for 6 months and take the sheet of paper that the client gave us, go off for 6 months, close ourselves up, and then come back in 6 months and say, here's what you told us to build. We don't do that. We come back to them every 2 weeks and say, this is what we're building. So there's a big difference between what the client says he wants and what he really needs. I'll give you an example. I love this example, and I know I've given it several times with several of you, so just bear with me. But a client comes to us and says that they want a wash basin. They want a place to wash hands. But they just come to us and say, I want a wash basin. It should be white. And so they start focusing on the user interface. It should have 2 handles, one for hot, one for cold. And it should hold water. It should be able to. Forget about that. It should not stain very easily. And they give you a list of requirements. So if you just take that list of requirements and go off and build it, come back to them, you're gonna give them exactly what they said they wanted, but maybe they never said that it should have a drain hole in the bottom of the wash basin. If you only build what they said they wanted, then you don't build the hole. You specifically don't build the hole into the wash basin. And do you need me for something? Okay, so the better way to do this is to build what they need. So we listen to them very carefully, and we care about what they want. But in the end, we need to build what they need, not just what they want, what they say they want. Because what they say they want today is going to change. What they need is probably not going to change a whole lot. So as professionals, we need to listen to what they say they wanted, which is a wash basin. And we need to rely on our experience and our just life experience and our maybe previous use of a wash basin. And we need to say to the client, hey, don't you want a hole in the bottom of this so that it drains? Not to make them look stupid or anything, just to make them think, okay, yeah, I should have said a hole. Or maybe they were just thinking, of course, that's a given. Of course I want a hole in the wash basin.
So I've got a real life example of this that I can toss in. The client wanted to check out. And I said, okay, great. So we developed the checkout. They said, well, where's the coupon code function? Oops.
So they maybe assumed.
They assumed that there was going to be a checkout with coupon functionality and discounts.
And every checkout has a coupon functionality.
Oh.
Pretty much.
No.
Amazon has.
It's optional.
eBay has.
Well, it's certainly not optional when you're going to build it as a development team, because a coupon functionality is not a small feature, unless you're building it in Meteor, apparently.
But that's the kind of function. It's like what the client wants is checkout, but they also wanted, but they didn't mention, coupons. So they really wanted a full suite of features, and we only delivered one to start.
Right. and that goes back to also managing expectations and making sure that we're listening well. But it's they said they wanted this. They left out some information. That's one way that a client can kind of derail us when we're trying to find out what they need. They said they didn't say coupon. They didn't say a feature that they were expecting. That's one way. But also sometimes what they really need is very different from what they want today. For instance, let's build a we need to build a system that helps us manage. Well, I'll use a different example. We have a theme park. We're at Disney World. We have the option to build 3 new rides. So somebody has a great idea that we're going to build a monster ride. So okay, we start building it. We spend $3 trillion on this ride, and it comes out about a year after we started. And but what happened was they were going off of a theme from a movie that came out a year ago. Well, when the ride is finally finished and ready to go, the movie has already been replaced in the minds of its fans by 5 other movies. The movie's out of style, and now nobody likes the ride because it's like yesterday. It's like what the cool thing yesterday. It's no longer what they need. It's what they wanted. It's what they said they wanted. But what should have happened is we start working on this ride. And we start to deliver small things, but then they realize, okay, this new movie came out. We need to change the face of the ride. So then we're agile, right? So we can say, okay, no problem. We're going to keep the ride, the structure the same, but we're going to change the facade. And then a new movie comes out. We change the facade again. And since we're Ackland Avenue, we're building things in a modular way so that we are able to shift and ebb with the client's expectations. So we're building what they really need, not what they say they wanted. Another thing is a cheese factory. Maybe I think I'm amazing at making cheese, and I'm really not, but I don't realize that. And so I'm going to build this factory and make this amazing cheese. But it turns out that nobody likes it. It's horrible. It smells bad. It smells like patahuca, and it's just not a good cheese. What I say I wanted was a factory that makes this specific cheese. What I really need is a recipe for a better cheese. And we as Ackland Avenue, we as a development team, should be ready to help the client figure out what they really need, but also work on what they want, but then deliver as fast as possible so that they can get it in front of users and find out, okay, nobody likes this cheese. Make sense? Okay, so that's the difference between what the client wants and what the client needs. How does that deal with grooming? We'll get to that in a second. The next concept I want to talk to you about is Zoom. When we're working on a project, we're trying to get into our heads these ideas for the project. So we start out zoomed out, like we're looking at a map and we're at full fish eye zoom out. We're looking at the whole planet. And then we start to zoom in, and zoom in, and zoom in, and zoom in. And we can get down to into the details to where we're even looking at the ants on the ground. We're so zoomed in. Well, when you're zoomed in, you're looking at the details. When you're zoomed out, you're looking at the context. Does that make sense? It's very important to have both. And it's very important to have people in our team that have one and the other. And they're able to switch back and forth. Developers very often are zoomed in, constantly zoomed in. They have to be, because we're constantly looking at the variables and the values, and we're okay. Is this negative? This is positive. This is A. This is B. We're constantly looking at the details. So we're zoomed in. It's also valuable occasionally, especially in a grooming session, for a developer to actually zoom out and get better context of what's going on. Because maybe this variable actually has more effect on this thing over here than what was expected. Another, yeah.
Maybe we can see the zoom in for how it works and zoom out for why it works that way.
Right. But that gives you that context. You need to be able to understand why you're doing something. We're not monkeys. We're not brainless. we are capable, and we should try to understand everything that we're doing. So that's why we need to be able to zoom in, and zoom out. Okay, so those are the concepts that I wanted to get you. This is my definition of what grooming is. Grooming is the process of zooming in on features and details and zooming out again to remember the big picture in order to remove ambiguity and prepare features for development. Removing ambiguity. What do I mean by that?
Removing different
Questions.
interpretations of something.
Yeah? Different interpretations, questions. What's that? Doubts, fogginess, gray areas. The more that we can, as a team, work together to erase the gray and replace it with something black or white, or remove something that's ambiguous and turn it into something that's clear and understandable, then we are really doing a good job in our grooming sessions. All right, so what's the goal of a grooming session? Well, it's not estimates. It's not checklists, and it's not for everybody else to receive information from the PO. It's not so that the PO can inform everybody else what the project should be. It is, on the other hand, to prepare the feature and the team for development. Why do I say more than just prepare the feature? Because I could be talking about a Trello card, right? Why do I say prepare the team for development?
Open question. Because they need to know the product vision.
Because they need to know the product vision. Right. Putting it into terms of zoom in and zoom out, it's because by preparing the team, that means that the team is capable of zooming out and understanding what they're looking at, instead of just understanding what's in the zoom in position. Some grooming components. These are things that are almost always part of any grooming session. Vision casting by the PO. Notice I'm not saying dictating what we will do. Remember, we're trying to get what the client needs, not just what they said they wanted. So the PO's responsibility is to cast vision. Casting vision. What does that look like?
Drawing a picture.
Drawing a picture. Maybe not even literally drawing a picture, but like helping you visually understand what the project should be.
What the goal for this
What the
feature.
goal.
Answering the whys.
Answering the whys. Casting vision to me is like, if I want to cast vision to you, I want to cast vision to you all today about grooming sessions and making them much better than they are right now. I want to cast that vision. So I have some passion inside of me about grooming sessions. I have some idea of how we can do them better. And so I want to provide you a vision and then cast it to you. I want to throw it to you. So that's casting vision. Questioning by the team. Now this is hard in this culture because this culture has a tendency to not question authority. Now, that's not to say that anybody on the team has authority, but sometimes we perceive authority in one way or another, especially if somebody knows something that somebody else doesn't know. And so it's our tendency to not question, but we must, because we are each a very important piece of the machine that's going to create this product that the client needs. So questioning is super, super important. I love to hear questioning, and I think our product owners would agree that we love to hear questioning. Questioning is an example of that is like, well, why do you want that? Or go back to the wash basin. What happens
when it's full?
When it's full? Where does the water go? Are we going to use a bucket to get the water out of the wash basin? Are we going to put a hole in it? If we put a hole in it, are we going to put a bucket underneath, or are we going to run plumbing? You know, it just questioning that should be part of our nature when we're grooming.
And I'm going to jump in.
Uh-huh.
As a PO, I need questions because my job is grabbing the vision and clarifying the vision with the client. I don't know the details, the technical issues, the drain hole. Oftentimes, as a PO, I need the team to provide that feedback and ask those questions because that helps me better clarify the vision, which is instrumental in communicating with the client. So it's not just a one-way street. It's a two-way street, and I need the team to help me by asking those questions. And the more questions, it also tells me that the team knows what the heck we're talking about, that my vision has been effectively cast. You know, that they're not just saying, and they're totally missing it. You know, so it's this two-way street, and questioning is key. Questioning is key, yeah.
I have a suggestion here for developers there. Is that the main problem of developers is like we're taking the card and we don't see the steps to do the things. But we don't see that the side of the product owner, what he's thinking about the product. So sometimes developers need to take a little bit of that place to start doing questions. And sometimes developers only say, okay, this formula is A plus B equals C. And they're the only thing, but they don't know what they're calculating.
Right.
So the way to involve developers in that is stop doing like telling them like dictating things how to do it, and just sending like the small pieces of the product, like functionality, and trying to involve the developer in the product instead of the feature.
I'm glad you said that. That's exactly where we're going. I'm going to give you a way that you can make sure that your grooming team does exactly that. It's not something that you're going to see very, very possible on existing projects, though you should still push for it. So hold on to that. When I pose as a product owner, which I get to do that every now and then, I'm doing that with Oscar on Training Manager, I intentionally leave out information. I intentionally don't say things because I want to hear Oscar say, well, what about this? And Oscar does. Or if Oscar doesn't, then Stephanie does. And I intentionally leave gaps in the information because I want them to feel the ambiguity. Because at the end, I'm going to ask them a very important question, and they're going to have to say honestly whether or not they feel comfortable developing this. And if there's a big gaping hole in the information, they're not going to say that. So they know that they want to ask those questions and clear up that ambiguity. Did you know that I was leaving out information intentionally? Yeah.
No, not really.
Well, it's a tactic. It's a good one, and I think that our product owners should try it. You can. There are ways that you can do it without wrecking your project. By the way,
Good. That's
because you can do that, and if no one brings up the thing, then that tells you that we're asleep or we're watching Netflix, and then you can say, well, why didn't somebody ask me about this? Okay, so next thing is, go ahead.
Do you have a set of maybe variable questions that you can ask, or something you can base yourself on when you're talking to a client? Like,
When you're talking to a client?
Yeah, for example, because you want to get all the information so you can take it to the grooming sessions from the client, right?
Right.
And just put an example, and I've been referring to Summer Labs, our production company, because we've been trying. This is the way we get information from our clients. We do have like a sheet where we don't do it verbatim, but it gives us like a set of things that we need to have before we start anything. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Nathaniel, I don't know if you have an opinion on that. My first thought is that every project is so different, it'd be hard to have a set of questions.
Yeah, we don't. No, we do not have a set of questions. Every project is unique, and one of the challenges that the project manager has is to really. It goes back to the question why. Why do you want this? What's the business process? Where's the pain point? Why does this hurt? You know what
value you're going to get out of this?
Because that's the other thing that when we're grooming, even We need to figure out what's the value that we're providing in developing this feature.
So
Colin?
I wanted to say something about that too, but I don't remember what it was.
Can I just ask the developers, is there something that's like, what's hard about asking questions? Is it like, you don't know what questions to ask, or you feel, like, is there a way that I don't know, is it just like you feel like you have all the information that you need to get started?
It has part to do with what Byron mentioned. It's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
People are not used to questioning authority. It could be that. I've seen that happen.
Is it a mindset too, though? It sounded like maybe you were saying.
And I'm not talking from a dev standpoint. I'm a BA, but
Yeah,
I talk to
sure.
devs sometimes, and they would be shy about it.
I have something to add. Sometimes it's because we start a new project, developers is going to the project, and the project is called Bluejay, right? That's the only thing that they know. So the first time they don't know what to ask.
Yeah.
Sure, of course.
So the first thing you saw is like a new thing that you don't know what it is. So you need to start like reading things or having something from the discovery part, having some
The PO communicating. The
Yeah,
project,
something of the history of the project and what the
Context.
client says with the project.
That's the thing I'm going to give you at the end of this.
Yeah, because the first time you go to the project, you don't know what to do. You only know that it's going to be C# or Node or
Technology.
or steroids. What does it matter what the technology is? But you don't know the first time what the app is going to do.
And that doesn't just apply to devs, it applies to QA as well. When we've been doing, for example, in Paris, we've been adding we added a lot of features on the backlog, and what we did, what we call a pre-grooming. So we met up before the grooming session with the team and told them what the feature was about so that they would feel more comfortable asking questions on the grooming session.
Sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees.
Sure.
And so when you have so many questions, it's hard to know what those questions are. Or there might be so many questions that you have a hard time picking one, or it's like a big blob and it's hard to. So one thing that Saul was getting at was that if he was able to zoom out sufficiently and have good context, then he would have the ability to ask questions, because he's going to start seeing the missing areas.
Shouldn't that be in the vision casting part of it anyway? I mean, because that's what it seems like to me when Nathaniel comes, he should be kind of doing that same thing that I do with a client when I first met him, is say, tell me about this thing. And they blab and they blab and they blab, and then you know what questions to ask after that. You guys,
And I definitely
isn't
try
that
to
the
do that.
vision
That
casting?
is. I think there's two sides to the vision casting. One is exactly this, where we're giving a very high level overview of the project.
Yeah.
And that's something I try and do with my teams when we get started. And the second one is the vision casting for that specific feature. And that's when we're in the grooming sessions itself. So there's two sides to that, but absolutely. And if you guys are ever in a position where devs, QA, anyone, ask the PO, you say, wait a minute, I want to back up. I want to get a high level overview. And that is our job. So if we're not doing our job, we need to know it, right? And so that vision casting on that high level needs to be done. And if we're not doing it, you need to let us know.
And what we're talking about so far is kind of what we're already doing.
Yeah.
These are already the goals, but there's another level of that I want to give you as a tool, so that you can try to use these in future grooming sessions. I'm gonna speed through a few of these other ones because our time is going away, but there's something I want to do at the end. So we need to be good at splitting. So during our grooming sessions, we need to be ready to split things. Tell me about splitting in 30 seconds, Paulette.
Basically, you start deconstructing the bigger picture in parts that are deliverable and easy to manage.
Right. So you have the big picture as a BA.
Yeah.
And splitting is taking that huge big picture and chopping it up into smaller pieces. And then those pieces start getting chopped up into smaller pieces. And those pieces start getting chopped up into smaller pieces. And when you get down to a small enough level, then you're ready to start adding some dev tasks, some other things, an estimate, things like that. And then that's when we're starting to really feel good about that feature. That's splitting, strategizing. So don't assume that the product owner is the only person who is capable of strategizing for the product. Maybe you have an opinion about the order of things that should be done in a demo. Nathaniel or Deanna or Jean, they are only one person, and they have intelligence and they have ability and they have vision, but they're not the only ones. You all also have those things, and if you can zoom out far enough during a grooming session, you can actually put in your opinion about, hey, if we were to demo this and this together, then that would really make this shine, and maybe that's something that Nathaniel had not thought of before. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of that behavior of developers is because most of the developers came from an enterprise culture, right? And they always receive orders and they see how to do it. So sometimes it's really hard for them to say to the PA, to the product owner, this is wrong, because in the past employees were too
Right.
too strict with
Right.
how to do it. So that's a thing that the developers need to be comfortable with this product owner.
Well,
Yes.
take a chance, though, right? I mean, because we're asking you, take a chance, right? Even if it feels uncomfortable, just start doing it. Maybe do it a little too much at first, and then you can taper it back, because we want you guys to be involved. I know how that feels too. I did the same thing. I'm like, no, got fired.
I was talking the same thing with Daniel yesterday, because I came from an enterprise environment when I was a developer. I did the programs as a QA. I only test the card for say something. But when I was developing, I don't see all the bugs, and when the user see a bug, I just say to the user, deal with it, because I say so. Now I don't have that opportunity. I have to test all the bugs. I have to test all the application. I have to test all the functionality to see if they work the way they do. They have to do.
And you probably won't feel very very excited about sharing your opinion again, since you've already been pushed down. Yeah, Carlos.
No, yeah, I was gonna say that it's important to remove that mindset that the PO is like they always have to act like a middleman. I mean, for example, in Curious, we've had cases where we told the team like, feel free to reach out if you have a technical question. Feel free to reach out directly to the client, and just remove that middleman, which will take more time. So it's all about empowering them.
Yeah, there are lots of instances where any of us can go directly to the client and say, "Did you mean this?"
Right.
I would say most of the time that's best done after grooming, because that way you don't get the product owner out of sync
Right.
with the client. Our product owner is kind of like a Mongo database, and the client is kind of like a SQL database, and we're trying to keep them in sync. That makes sense.
Yeah. The problem with that is just if you all go and talk regularly with the client, that's fine. But you got to make sure that they know we're not going to add features. If you want to add features, talk to the product owner.
Yeah.
Did you realize they try to sync the NoSQL database with the RDBM database? Two different technologies.
For example,
Yes.
what I think is because the company started growing too fast, right? At the beginning, like 2 years before, we were like a small company, so I have jokes with Byron that is my boss, for example. In other companies, I can't do that. For example, and the only product owner of those times was Nathaniel. Then came Carlos, but all were like a small thing for us. But right now, you can when you split the teams in another project. Some, for example, I don't know some guys where I'm having the summit right now. I don't know even his name. I know the name in Slack, but I don't know his face. So, and the other thing is that some of the developers only have 1 year here, and maybe they don't feel really comfortable yet with all the thing. And that's maybe the thing we need to enforce.
Right.
But also, since you feel more comfortable about it, You just doing it will probably help them bring them up to that
Yeah,
level.
right.
of
That's
understanding.
key. That's key. Is leading by example.
That's great. Great.
So any grooming session would have those four, I think. And then if it's ready, if the card is ready, then we can estimate. We should be estimating during grooming sessions. And then if the card is ready and estimated, then the product owner or whoever's leading the meeting, probably the product owner or the BA, should ask the developer and the tester, are you comfortable developing this? Is it ready? That's the developer and the QA, the tester's chance to say, hold up, no, I'm not ready. And then it tells the product owner that there's still ambiguity, there's still gray area in there. If we say yes, it's ready, then it really means that I'm totally comfortable with this. I know all about it that I need to know, no problem. Why involve everyone? I'm just going to run through these really fast. Everyone, we have a wealth of intelligence and creativity. We are a very diverse group, and we have a diversity of experience and opinions. The unseen is one of the things that hurts us in projects, the things that we don't know about. So the more people you get looking at something, the more chances you're going to see the unseen. More ownership and buy-in from the team members. Product owner is just a title. Everyone is a product owner. Colleen is a person who's finding clients and bringing them to us, but she should feel the same kind of ownership that Elder feels when or Alberto or Saul when you're working on the project. Everyone should feel ownership, and a grooming session, a good grooming session, should provide you a feeling of ownership, that this is something that I own. The team has history with the features even before development. So during Sprint 0, before a project starts, we're going to be grooming really fast, really a lot of grooming sessions. And you're going to have history with the features. Before you even start with the first line of code, you know the product. You're able to zoom out and see that context. In the end, a better product comes out and a happier client because we gave the client what they needed, not what they said they wanted. All right, let's talk about lifespan. Lifespan is an imaginary product that we're going to talk about. I'm a product owner. I know everything there is about lifespan. That's the only thing I'm going to tell you today. We're in a grooming session. This is not a 3 amigos. It's like a 10 amigos. But we're going to build a mobile app that takes readings from wearable devices and social network data to predict illnesses. Ready, go.
A wearable device is.
This is the only card in the Trello board, by the way. Go ahead.
The wearable device is it's a bracelet or is another piece of.
Like an iPhone, an iWatch,
What
or
type of data are you gonna be taking? Like heart rate, how many steps I take a day?
yeah,
how much
heart
I
rate,
run?
steps. Let's see. You're going to read data from MyFitnessPal, which is going to read the calorie count of calorie intake per day. You're also going to temperature. You're going to read data from my doctor's EMR that says that I was sick on this day with headache and things like that.
It's going to synchronize offline, online.
That was a card, by the way. We just created a card.
It's going to synchronize offline, online.
It's going to be, yeah, it'll be available offline. If I'm in the bush, then I'll still be able to log data at least.
When you mean predict illnesses, is that gonna be like an immediate notification, an email? What's going to be
it'll
considered
be-
a prediction?
It would be a push notification and an email, just or it'll be a configurable thing. That's a card, by the way.
If you have an emergency, he's going to call the doctor.
No, that's out of scope. None of that.
It's going to keep.
It gives me the opportunity to call my doctor and say, tomorrow I will be sick.
Every device is only attached to one owner or multiple owners.
Only one owner.
By
Per device.
biometrics, by biometrics, by serial number, by phone code.
Uh,
All the device is able to
We're gonna put-
differentiate between owners.
We're going to put that in the backlog, and somebody's going to spike on that. Richard's going to spike on that.
What are gonna be like the formulas that trigger an illness? Like it's a headache.
I'm going to
fever.
provide you with a library that was written by a Ukrainian developer that has proprietary algorithms in it that you will not know anything about. All you're going to have, actually, it's an API. That'll be nicer. I'm going to provide you an API that was written at ASP.NET, and it's very well documented. but it's never been used by anyone.
ESP.
But that's a card, by the way.
Yeah, that's a big red flag.
Is it more of a health tracker than a fitness tracker?
It's not actually responsible for tracking anything. It's only pulling in data from other systems.
Why are we building this?
Because people want to know that tomorrow they'll have a headache. People would like to know ahead of time when they're going to be sick, so they can finish up that big project before they have a headache.
Is it going to refer you to things you can do to prevent that illness in the future?
That's a really, really good idea. I had not thought of that.
Facebook.
Like drink a lot of water today and vitamin C and pack.
Actually, let's put that in the backlog, and the product ownership team will strategize on that. So,
What mobile platforms do you want to support?
Android and iPhone to start off with, but I want them simultaneously deployed.
It's
I
able
don't want to
to-
have to wait for the second platform.
It's able to communicate with another smart devices on the home. It's able to communicate with another smart devices.
What
on
I
the home.
want is the ability to add integrations with other. So I want an open platform that provides developers with the ability to add more devices.
Whoa.
Is that a card?
Yes.
Do we need to know anything about the social network data, or is that just provided by the API?
I would envision that is that's an integration. So each social network data is an integration.
Which social networks do you want?
Well, for right now, just my Fitness Pal as that one. It's kind of like a social network because you can if you've ever used it before, you can see what other people are doing. You can invite people to your profile, things like that. But at some point, I would like to have, again, with a proprietary algorithm, I'd like to hook up to Facebook and look at your comments and see whether you're stressed.
Adding to Pamela's card, it's going to give rentals to the user. So
Challenges.
it's challenges. I challenge you to walk 100 paces today for improvement.
Or else you'll have a headache on Thursday. I like that a lot. And we'll add that as information to the card.
Is it gonna like track your daily data, weekly? How is it gonna track your information like your
It's going to be a server based. Most of the brains is going to be on a server in Texas, and it's going to be just like polling all these different integrations, bringing in information, running it through the Ukrainian algorithm, and then spitting out some predictions of when you're going to be sick. Okay, let's stop there.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think his question was, at what frequency are we going to
Right.
pull the data from that person?
Well, we're
not
not.
gonna constantly be sending their heart rate information. Right?
That stuff is already happening. So for instance, my iWatch is sending my heart rate and my steps to my iPhone
But how? At what frequency?
at whatever frequency it wants to, and then it's sending data to some server anyway. So this app will just be pulling data from existing APIs. We actually don't care about the devices until we actually start working on an integration.
I have a worst case scenario. What happens if the user is having a heart attack?
That's out of scope. We're not
Totally
dealing with that. Okay, let's stop there. Let's zoom in. Now, what we've done is we have provided a great amount of context, lots of really good questions.
I need much more time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it requires a lot more time, but we need to start developing on Monday. It's Wednesday right now. We got to start. We got to start developing very soon. We got to start actually developing something because we got to beat our competitors to market. So we're going to pick one feature that we can actually put in front of people, and we want to only predict headaches. We only want to predict headaches. We're not going to predict flus or anything like that, and we're only going to use the algorithm is only going to check to see whether or not they have a headache because of dehydration. Okay, so let's imagine that my Fitness Pal is measuring how many glasses of water someone drinks per day. So it can. I don't think that people use that, but let's just say that it does. All right, so that's going to be our only feature. We're going to call it the headache predictor, and we're going to release it as a solo project, the headache predictor. We're only going to pull in data from one integration source, MyFitnessPal. If they have an API, it's open and REST. So let's go with that. So that's basically we have gone through with the context, asked a bunch of questions, created a bunch of cards. We've taken the huge round circle feature, which is that, and turned it into maybe 50 different cards just with our first grooming session. Now fast forward, we're looking at tomorrow. We're in tomorrow's grooming session, and now we're going to strategize. We're just going to pick this one headache predictor. So let's start grooming that. Only predicting headaches from only one source. How can we chop this up into smaller pieces so that we can get ready for development?
Tie into the API.
Well, we don't want tasks. Remember, we're looking at cards that represent some sort of user story or a scenario.
So I can get the data from the API. I can see the data in the app from the API.
Okay, so we need a dashboard that shows future headaches. Just a list of like some dates when there might be a headache.
Okay.
We can go with that. So that's a card. Dashboard with headache predictions. Okay? What else?
Just a question. When do we get to pick the technologies? Because that might,
The technology is up to you.
like for instance, if
Whatever
you have a
fits
mobile
the
device and you said, I want to have it to an iOS and Android, so would it be Xamarin or PhoneGap? And there's like two very different.
I'm not very technical. I don't know about things like Xamarin or things like that. Xamarin. I don't know things like that. In fact, I don't know why you're asking me. That's a.
You're just going to get it into the platform. So I can open up the iPhone store and
Yeah, all I
download the
want.
program.
I know about my iPhone. I just want it on my iPhone, and my brother has an Android, and he wants it. All right. What else?
So we need to integrate with the API or with the Apple Store.
Yeah. So
A separate card.
yeah, we need a card probably for pulling data out of the API. How's QA going to test that? I'm doing your job, by the way. How's QA going to test just getting data out of the API?
Testing the API with the API tester.
With the API tester, okay.
Data from the API to see the data is recovered in the segment.
How are you gonna know the intake of water? You said something before.
MyFitnessPal API has a number of glasses of water.
You enter that manually.
You do. The user does that in MyFitnessPal, and it becomes available to us in the API. So this is the part we get quiet. Look, I just want a dashboard that shows me when I'm going to have a headache.
So I see the data from the API.
We store the data. We need a card to store the data provided by the API in the central server to calculate the amounts of water that the user is drinking, so we can compare to the what is called in English the recommended amount of water of hydration users should have to prevent a headache.
Okay?
Well, all of that is in the algorithm, right?
Right. So you just feed in the number of cups of water, a number of ounces of water over the past 5 days.
Are the headache alerts going to be removed if you're drinking more water? Like if you already got an alert and now you decide to drink more water.
So you can like reverse, you can avoid your future.
Yeah.
Yes, it should remove those alerts, which probably means that you just recalculate that view every now and then,
So that view just refreshes.
which is a card.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's a you'd have a card that's like as a user when I'm viewing the app for more than 30 seconds, I should see that the data has refreshed 3 times.
So can you, if you're doing that, if you get an alert, you need to drink water, and then you're like, oh, okay, let me toss back 2 glasses of water.
Yeah.
Can you put it right into the app itself,
Not
or do you
into
have
the
to
app.
go back to
You have to go to
FitnessPal?
right. This is an MVP, minimal viable product. That data entry, surprisingly enough, would probably take about a week to get done and tested and everything. So, but not in Meteor apparently.
I feel like you're making fun of
I am a little bit, but I like Meteor. It's cool. Okay, so let's just stop there. You all have done a great job. I would love to have this application. I would love to develop this application, but unfortunately, the Ukrainian developer doesn't exist, and neither does the algorithm.
There's a bracelet that like gives you how many hours you slept and how many hours you should.
This does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does all kinds of things like that. But what it doesn't do is predict when I'm going to have a headache.
Right.
I can probably predict when I'm going to have a headache because I didn't. I know that I haven't drank.
Water.
I haven't drank water. I haven't drunk any water.
Yeah.
But it's what we just did was actually incredible. We took that huge circle and turned it into something that we can build. Almost. If we had spent another 30 minutes on it, I'll bet you we could have had at least 1 or 2 cards that were groomed and estimatable and buildable. Yeah.
So whenever I do this kind of thing, I try and do it in front of the whiteboard. Just because you take a piece and then you can let go of it in your mind for a minute, and if you need it, it's there. That's kind of a challenge, because in this case, I would have said, all right, here's the mobile device over here, here's this, here's the remote server, and so you can just kind of set it up and you can ask questions without getting lost.
Right.
But I don't know how.
Something visual.
Yeah, something visual. Again, it frees up your mind to think about other things. If you can leave it up there and not forget about it.
Right.
But in this case, we've got everybody remote, so.
Well, we have tools.
Yeah.
We have like Google Draw, Google Slides.
Yeah.
So that we can all get into the same project at the same time and see the things moving around. But here's the thing that I was trying to give you, Saul, and actually for everybody, but this is like, I feel like this addresses some of the things that you've been feeling. When we don't have context in a project, it's because we haven't been able to zoom out. We haven't been able to see the bigger picture. We've been stuck in the weeds or we've been zoomed in too much. So grooming allows us to zoom back out. But not just because we've come to a grooming meeting and we've been spoken to about what the project will be, what the product will be. It's because we were given the chance at the beginning of a project to actually start asking questions at this level, at the huge circle level, where maybe the product owner knows about all the 10 or 20 features that we need to build, but maybe the product owner, just to present a little bit of ambiguity, can come to the meeting and not say things about those 10 features. Maybe Nathaniel comes to a meeting and just says, we're going to build a Bible translation software. Ready, go. and then let the questions start to flow. I don't know how many of you all have ever had to use a water spigot where you had to pump it. There's a thing called priming the pump. That's where you pump it a few times to get the water, the air flowing through, and it causes the water to rise to the top. A lot of times we don't spend very much time priming our pump as far as asking questions. We just kind of jump into things and expect questions to start flowing. But we are human beings. We are much like that manual pump where we have to kind of get that water flowing, get the questions flowing. And something like this can really help your grooming sessions. And I would encourage you, Saul, if you're in a meeting where you're not getting the context that you need, say, hey, can we zoom out a little bit? You can even say those exact words, and you'll sound like me, and it'll be great. But can we zoom out a little bit? And then maybe that means that Deanna then will instead of talking about just the features, maybe she'll step out and say, yeah, we're going to build a mobile app that takes readings from blah, 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 blah.
And they, believe me, like if that was me and you said that, I would appreciate it a lot because I would know, you really listen, you really want to know about this. So.
And wouldn't it be cool if we had started Horizon with something like this, where we said we're going to build, because even after a few weeks of the project, I asked a few people, what is CARES? I don't know.
Well, all right.
But it's not because it had not been explained.
Yeah.
But it's probably because, or at least I don't know whether it's because, but if we had done something like this with CARES, where we go to the team and say we need to build and I still don't know what CARES is. But we need to build a product.
Wait a minute, he's working on CARES. This is the problem.
We need to build a product that helps maintain patient data for inmates. Ready? Go. And then where do the inmates come from? Who are they? Why are they there? No, not why are they there. What are we dealing with their symptoms? Do we? And then we start. Why do we need this software? Oh, it's because of authorizations. We need to figure out whether they're authorized to go and do this procedure, things like that. And then as a team, we start to get this context. We're zoomed out. And then when it's time, we can start chopping things up. And then when we're zooming in. Chop it up, zoom in, chop it up, zoom in, and then we're ready to estimate.
I think, for example, sometimes the developers are really technical when you have a way to do it, right? Or something. And that's why domain-driven design works.
Yeah.
And some of the developers don't know what is that. And so if we have something that tell developers domain-driven design, not like the sort of truth, that giving them just some concept of that thing, maybe they will be maybe they will make more questions and be more involved in that.
Domain-driven design has a lot of answers to these kinds of questions.
Yes.
You're right. You're right. And we should definitely spread that around even more. Like Nathaniel has heard about DDD, but he probably thinks it's a coding issue, a developer thing. But really, it's something much higher level than that, and affects the way we code. But it's actually something that is higher up in Zoom. Okay, that's all. Thanks for your time.
There is another talk about from DDD to DDD.
Sure. That
So what stage is this?
Thank you so much.
well, okay, so the stage with the developers, the grooming